Christ's name we pray. Amen.
So I want to welcome again everyone here today. I know Saturday, like Muksubu said, Saturday is such a precious day. You have 5 days to work, and then your Saturday is for you to rest. But you took the time to be here. We feel so encouraged and blessed, and we're so glad you're here because your presence here is a blessing for us. And I want to say why we started this initiative. A group of us, a few adults, including Koha and me and Koha, and a few people, we went to an American church for leadership training. And we thought, wow, why don't we do something for the Vietnamese community? And that's why we started this initiative, doing workshops. And the second thing is that, you know, the work of the Lord is so difficult. There's a lot of struggles. I'm going to tell you why. First, sometimes you feel really unappreciative. You know, you do all this work and no one seems to appreciate. Or the second thing is, there's no resources, there's no manpower, you feel stressed, you feel overwhelmed. And so that's why, you know, we come together because we want to kind of like connect with other churches and we want to hold hands and say, you know, how hard it is, right? But I want you to understand this. It's not for the people, it's for God. You are the child of God. Everyone here, okay? So whatever you're going through, I want to hold your hands, and I want you to pat your back, and I want to say to you, keep going. Keep going for God, okay? No matter how hard it gets, no matter the struggles, the heartaches, and everything that you go through, we are going through it with you. And we want you to know that we love you, and we're here for you. And that's why I'm struggling myself. I am struggling. I don't have it all together. And that's why I'm calling on the churches to come and say, hey, I need you here for me. I need you to hold my back. I need you to help me through this. Because this is hard work. That's why I'm here. So I'm just going to introduce Koha for a minute, and she'll tell you a little bit about herself.
Hello again. My name is Hua Lee. As you can see that I'm holding the cross. Imagine in our life, we have invisible cross. It's not easy to hold, right? Sometimes we feel like it's too much. We want to drop it. That's why we cannot hold it all by ourselves. The Lord say, I will never forsake you. I'm there with you. So this is the cross for today. It's representing the Lord's with us. But imagine you hold like this all the time. To one point you feel tired and you just want to drop it off. But if we all come together, I'm tired now, Guido. Can you please help me? We're not passing along Christ. We are help each other hold it up. Okay? And today, we're using this cross as a prayer request. Anytime during the day, if you want to lift up your voice, lift up your prayer, and you don't want to interrupt, but you feel like, oh, never interrupting. But if you want us at the end to pray for each other, we have sticky note and we have pens that you can stick up your prayer in here.
And I want to say this is that we are not professionals. We're normal like everybody else here. We're not the experts in English ministry. That's why I started this initiative, because I wanted to know, what is Living Hope doing? What is the Vietnamese Mennonite Church doing? What is Lancaster Church doing? I want to learn from you, and I want to know what the best practices that you are doing to help me, because I feel I need it. I need your support. So that's why we're all here to learn with one another, okay? So the first topic that we're going to go about is servant leadership. Why did we, as a leadership team, me and Koha, chose this topic of servant leadership? There are numerous books written about servant leadership. Servant leadership is important. Why? In any organization, in any church, in any company, the rise and fall of a church depends on the leaders. A good leader, an effective leader, will bring up the church. A bad leader, it's going to fall apart. So important. That's why we're going to learn about servant leadership. And so with that, I'm going to ask, well, I have a clicker here. So I want to read the Bible verse. The theme for today is Ephesians 4:12, to equip his people for works of service. so that the body of Christ may be built up. Okay? So today, the goals are the following. What is servant leadership? What exactly is servant leadership? What is the profile of servant leadership? What are the principles of servant leadership? What are leadership guidelines? Okay? So you're going to think, well, I'm not a leader. This doesn't apply to me. What am I doing here? Well, it's very important. You're here to learn about, even if you aren't a leader now, one day you might be a leader and this might be applicable to you. Or if you are just a parishioner or a churchgoer, you will know how to interact with people, how to respond, and you will learn about the love and humility of Christ to help you do well, to help you go about, and to help you interact with people and bring glory to God. So with the next activity, I'm going to give it up to Kohat.
Yes. So in your folder, can you please open it up? Okay, so you have the agenda, in there. So let's see, go through. You have the agenda, you have the note-taking page, and you have the evaluation at the end, okay? So those are your handouts. It's more like for you to write a note and take a note. So at this time, if you all have your phone, you have permission to use your phone at this time and open up the Bible verse from John 13, okay? Chapter 13, John, the Gospel of John. So I will assign each group. So group number 1, which is over here, you will read verse 1 to 5, okay? And group number 2, over here, you will read verse 6 to 9. And group number 3, over there, you will read verse 10 to 13. And group 4, you will read 14 to 17. So go ahead, use your phone. This is your only chance to have the phone because after that, you're going to put it away. So read it amongst your team. Talk about it. And then later on, we'll give you like 5 minutes to talk about it, dissect each verse, chewing it, memorizing it. Think about it. Because each group will come up and present what is those verses in your own terminology and understanding or example. Okay?
He loved his own who were in the world. He loved them to the end. The evening meal was in progress, and the devil had already prompted Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him.
Okay, so go ahead, storyteller from your group.
Yes, good.
Yes, come on, let's go.
Yes, good.
Yes. Be confident, you can do it,
Right.
you can do
Go
it.
tell the story. Go ahead.
You got to turn it on though.
What a man. So, I appreciate it. The pastoral festival, right? Jesus knew that someone was going to betray him. He didn't care about that. Because he loved his disciples so much that he had to wash their feet. Washing someone's feet is dirty. And to do something so dirty and still do it because you love them showed how much you care for them. As a leader, you love everyone who is under you, and you want to make sure that they. I'm losing it. Sorry. So they're taken care of. Yes. That's it.
Take a snack for your team.
What kind of snack?
There you go, pick one. Anything, pick one for your team.
Group 2. Come on up, group 2. Come on, let's go.
One person.
Great guy. That's good. Great job.
So you kids read?
You can do this.
Just now we know the thing is just kind of summarize this story and then we act it out.
So verse 6 through 9, he came to Simon
realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand. No, said Peter, you shall never wash my feet. Jesus answered, unless I wash you, you have no part with me. Then Lord, Simon Peter replied, not just my feet, my hands and my head as well. Now we do the demonstration.
Peter.
Demonstrate.
Hi. So, yeah, from what we got from this is that, in that time, washing feet of people is kind of like a slave / servant job, saying that, and then Peter didn't want the Lord to wash his feet because he believed that this job or service was beneath Jesus. And Jesus said, no, I am not above any of you guys. Even though you guys are my disciples, I am not going to, I'm not going to put myself on a higher level than everyone. So Jesus wanted to break that cycle of the casting system where the more rich or important people get to demand or bully around the poor people, because in Jesus' eyes, everybody is a follower and he loves each and every one of his people.
Alright. Then Richmond is like, okay, let me do something for you guys. Since you guys been a great servant and great people that you guys been following me, I'm gonna do one thing for you. I'm gonna wash your feet. There you go, wash your feet. Yeah. And then one guy said, yo, boss, why you bend down? Go ahead. You can speak.
You can speak.
You can speak.
Don't do that, boss. Don't do that.
Don't do it, boss. Let me do it. You're the boss.
You talk, you talk.
Alright, boss, you can talk.
You can talk, boss.
Come on, boss.
Yo, I clean your feet, but I clean more than that. I clean from the inside out. Alright, so what I do for you, make sure you do for others. Alright? What? Okay. That's it. So go.
I'm gonna give this group 2 prizes. That was really good. That's 2
The
prizes.
whole team is joining.
Two prizes. Two prizes.
No, that motivates the whole team here.
No, we already do it.
We are group 4 and verses 14 to 17. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Very truly I tell you, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them.
Hey, everyone in that team, they got for the prize now. We start off with 1 and 2, and now like half, and now like the whole team.
I am your teacher and your Lord. And I do what I have done for you to others.
What's happening to you?
Everyone.
Scene.
Next 2 prizes for your group. 2.
We're learning of 2 prizes. I just want to say, you all explained what I needed to say, so I don't really need to say much. But Jesus used a towel and a basin to equip and empower people to accomplish God's purpose and plan. Okay? So we see that Jesus was not someone who said, oh, I'm not going to wash your foot. But he did. He did the lowest of the tasks, the servant's task. And Jesus said to follow what he did. Okay? So it says, I have given you an example to follow. Do as I have done to you. And Jesus said, here I am among you as one who serves. Remember, we are servants of the Lord. And so with the next, I'm going to let Gohan explain this activity. But we're going to have a little short discussion before we have an activity.
So, this is a group discussion. How should one lead? So you think and talk among yourself, okay? Is one's attitude serve or to be in charge? That's the difference. Okay? Sometimes we want to be in the leadership so we can be in charge. Power, fame. Other people, I should get the respect from you because I'm your youth leader. I should get the respect from you because I'm your pastor. I should get the respect from you because I am this, that, all the title. Okay? How would you define servant leadership? So that's your group discussions.
And one person can share out from the group. So
Yes.
we like you to talk in your
Yeah,
group
we
first.
talk, turn, talk.
Talk and
Those
answer these
questions is your
One
guide.
person will represent the group to share out. So have a discussion, talk to each other, okay? Talk to each other about these.
You know, as a leader, we have to have character, we have to have conviction, we have to have compassion, that means we care about our group, and we have to, what else we say?
Competent.
Competent, that means we have to have ability to lead. Not anybody can be a leader, someone have to have a skill too, you know, but not skill is not the only thing. And the attitude to say we have to be faithful, as someone saying, we have to lead in by example. That means we have to be the servant first to lead, not just like walking around, you know, pointing the finger and say you do that and you do this, but I'm not doing anything. You have to set example first, you know, to do the leader. That to be more effective. And also, the servant leadership is by leading by setting example.
Thank you for that. Anyone? I heard this table, you talk a lot, you have great example here. Anyone?
Peter.
All right, Peter.
Peter.
Yeah.
Okay. Raise your voice.
It's not loud enough.
You can come to the front. Just come to the front. It's better. You should come to the front.
Just one.
What a man. So what we talked about was sometimes people, when they want to be a leader or they want the title of a leader, they think that once they get that title, they're automatically given this certain type of respect. You have to respect me because I'm your boss, I'm your leader. But respect isn't given, it's earned. So earning the trust, showing trust with whoever you're leading, showing generosity, showing love. As all things that God shows us and things that we can do to show others. And that, I think, is something that a leader should always have.
Yes, amen. All right, good.
So our group talked about, well, the two major things that we talked about was humility and willingness. You gotta be willing to learn and to understand God and seek God first, because it comes down to your relationship with God. And then the second thing was humility. You have to understand that you are nothing without God, and that everything that God has given you, His gifts, are for you to use to glorify Him. So with leadership, and like that is a gift that not everyone has. So the people who do have it, they have to understand that it's something that God has given you to use for His glory. With that in mind, humility means you have to really seek and like understand and grow yourself, because leadership, there's a higher standard for you, so you have to understand to meet that standard and to really what's the word? Yeah. Basically, you have to meet a higher standard as a leader. And you have to be an example for others. That's it.
Yes, amen.
And last but not least, someone please come up. From group 4, right? No, group 3. Tom? Yes,
It's
please.
long enough, but it's not long enough.
Please come up because the extension cord is
Give
short.
you a
And
moment to get up and down,
yeah.
stretch your legs.
remember, you're learning to be leaders, so feel comfortable standing in front of people and talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the boss.
So we actually went through a lot of different topics, but I'm just going to pick one, and I kind of didn't get to explain this. So one that Taehyung said was that you have to make sacrifices. So since our topic is servant leadership, think of it this way, like Jesus came down on the earth to die on the cross for our sins. But think of it if he didn't come down, and there was just like, oh, God is up there, oh, I'm your God. Would everyone follow him if he didn't do anything for us? So then he made the sacrifice for Jesus to come down and die on the cross for our sins. And through that, we basically kind of have like a physical example of it.
Welcome. Thank you for expressing how God set a example for us right now. He is our great role model. Always look up to him. Whenever you doubt, just look up. He's the great role model in every aspect of our life. We have 2 guests who come in. Would you like
Because
to
you all talked about that. Everyone talked about this too. So because of time, I just want you to take a minute to look at that. Okay, so you see that in servant leadership, it's bottom up. See, the leader is at the bottom and empowering people and motivating people to be leader. As the typical leadership structure is top down. I'm in control, you do this, and you do this. And we know that in the corporate world, they are finding out that servant leadership is working better than regular leadership, which is top down, which is like you're controlling and you're micromanaging everybody. And so with servant leadership, you can see that laissez-faire type of leadership is just, the leader is just, I have the title, but like, you do whatever you want. You have no concern of the goals or what's going on. Then you have autocratic leaders. Those are leaders that are like, I'm in charge, you do this, you do that. Okay? So if it's autocratic, it's high in task, you'll get the work done. But transformational is this, where you are developing people, you're empowering them, and you're making them leaders. And servant leadership works well at transformational and democratic, which is everybody has a voice. And so if you're looking at this, you're thinking like servant leadership is like, oh, I'm the servant, tell me what to do, I'll do everything. Okay, I'm gonna do everything. And you can't like say no or anything. We don't want you to think about that, okay? Because first of all, you're not the boss, and you're telling them what to do. It might work in the corporate world because they're getting paid, and you're telling them what to do. If they don't do it, they get fired. But in the church community, mostly it's all volunteer. You can't do the top anyway. The bottom is like, you're doing all the work and everybody's sitting around doing nothing, right? No, that doesn't work either, because you're not developing leaders, and you cannot be taken advantage either. You can say no. You can set boundaries. You have a voice. You're a leader. You're not a follower. That's not what servant leadership is all about. Remember, I've heard a phrase, you carry them with your heart, not with your back. Okay? You're not their slave, okay? You're not like, okay, I need you to do this, pastor. I need you to do this. Okay, good. I'm going to do it for you because I'm a servant. No, that's not the idea. The idea is you are developing people and motivating people to be leaders themselves. Okay, so here's the next activity.
So now we have posted note. So you can see each. So we have a white paper right there. So each one we have profile and principle. So on your table you have sticky note among yourself. This is we have to clear all the chairs so nobody trip over. We don't want to do any
It's a
TV or
race.
anything.
It's fun, right?
So in your team, talk among yourself what is profile of a servant and the definitions right there. Descriptions of the person.
And he's always willing and loving.
Yeah.
group 2 has servant leader is confident, giving, faithful, a volunteer, loving, trustworthy, sacrificial, nice, encouraging, humble, hardworking. Thankful. We have compassion twice.
Yeah. So that is 12 now.
All right, Peter.
All right. Thank you, Peter.
Peter, you got one
Okay, group 3. Yep, group 3.
So we believe a servant leader has a good
Group 3,
vision.
group 3, sorry.
Oh, give me over here. Oh, my bad.
Go ahead.
Loud and proud.
Loud and proud.
A servant leader does not complain. They're selfless. They have compassion. They're humble. They have kindness. They have exemplary. They're loyal, oriented. They develop people. They love. They show how it's done. They generate enthusiasm. They're a visionary. They say we instead of I. They give each other credits. They're wise. And they coach people. Yeah.
All right,
Okay, your group is the winner. You get 2 prizes for that group. Good job.
One for Go ahead.
We believe a servant leader has
Nice.
a good.
Loud and proud.
We believe a good servant leader has a good vision, is kind, is open-minded, is sacrificial, is confident, is loving, is humble, and is gentle.
Yeah. Thank you. So I can hear the common words like
All right. I'm trusting you,
vision.
Aaron! Go select prize for your list. Good job. Is how are they? And it's in 1 Timothy 3:1-7 of leaders. First of all, they have to be faithful to their spouse. They have self-control. Not like if somebody comes up and say, hey, you know, doing something, saying something negative or putting you down, you're like, what? You know, punch her in the face? No, okay. Respectable, hospitable, teachable. Okay, listen.
Teachable is
Hey,
very important.
sorry. He's been in the ministry before me. When I was a college student, he was already in ministry. And yet he said, you know what? I want to come here and be your student. That's his attitude. Lifelong learner. It's not about like, I have more experience than you. I don't need to learn from you. We're all teachable, okay? At any age, at any time in our life. We're gentle. We manage our family well. We don't get drunk. We're not violent. We're not quarrelsome. And we're not lover of money. And that's all the qualifications if you read in 1 Timothy 3:1-7. Honesty and integrity, that's the key. That's the character of a servant leader, not ambition. What is it in it for me? What is my self-gain from this? No. Okay? Number 1 is character, right? Character. Faith is your core being. That's what motivates you, your faith. You exhibit holiness. It's not you. You can't do it. It's the Holy Spirit within you that allows you to exhibit the holiness. You're transformed and strengthened by Christ and Christ alone. Okay? It says, like, be holy, for I am holy. 1 Peter 1:16. He has saved us and called us to a holy life, not because of anything we have done, but because of his purpose and grace. That's in 2 Timothy 1:9. Okay? So God is holy, so we have to emulate what the Father does and be holy. It's not easy, and you can't do it without God. Okay, number 2, I want to talk about your motive, okay? Number 1 is your character. If you're a servant leader, you have to be you need to exhibit the character of a servant leader, okay? Number 2 is motive. What is the motive of a leader that drives his or her practice? Okay, what is your motive? Why are you here? Are you here because I'm looking at VV? Oh my goodness, you're so dedicated. You're here. You're working so hard. Is that what you want? Is V here because she wants me to praise her? Woo! Everybody give me a clap. I did that at the beginning. No, seriously, your motives. Like here, Matthew 6:1. What did Jesus say? Be careful not to practice your righteousness in front of others, to be seen by them. If you do, your Father will have no reward you will have no reward from your Father in heaven, okay? So don't say, look at me. What am I doing here? I should get all the praise because I am good or whatever. What is your motive in doing all this? Not for the praises of anyone here, but only for the pleasing of the Father in heaven. Your second, continuing with the motive, of a leader. It is to influence and impact people for the glory of God alone. Okay? You are here to influence and impact people, not for your glory, for God's glory. An agenda. Okay? You have to know, if you're a servant leader, what is your agenda for a servant leader? That is to promote the extension of God's kingdom in this world. The point we're all here is there are so many people who do not know Jesus. We need to evangelize the lost. We need to establish vital churches. Why are some of the churches dying? Why are churches closing down? What is the reason for that? Okay? That is our agenda, is to make our church lively and alive and to edify the saved. What does edify mean? Edification of the saved means that you lead and influence other Christians to have a deeper relationship with God. That's your influence here. I mean, if I'm a leader and I never talk to you about, your faith, or I just tell you to do this, you need to play this song, you need to come and help me clean the church, you need to help me come set up, but I never talk to you once about your faith, or I never encourage you to pray, or I never encourage you to have a relationship with God, well, that's not going to work. That's not going to help. And the agenda is to grow spiritually in holiness and godly wisdom. That is your agenda as a servant leader. Okay, now go on.
Okay. So you see on the bottom it says principle. Same thing. Now you got the first round. How many sticky in there? So now you can write as many on one sticky, and then your team keep running up. You have 1 minute to do it again. And only 1 minute left.
Principle.
One sticky or
Just one sticky, one word per sticky, okay, just like that. As many sticky as you can.
We should have won last time.
All right, on your march, get set, go.
Do all for the glory of God. Praying for others, putting God first, serving others, putting others before yourself. Love is the foundation. Gratitude, showing love, pleasing God rather than pleasing people, and then hoping others understand the Bible and God's words.
Woo, all right, me.
So, for some principles, we said they have to be selfless, they have to be people with influence, they have to be centered around Christ, they have to better others, loyalty and honesty, they have to show how it's done. What are some others? They have to be Christ-like, yeah, so aiming for an image of God is always good. And they put others first. Good integrity. They have to be ethical and humble. Yeah.
All right, Nathan.
We have
Oh, get your prize. See? Did you get your prize one? Okay, Group 2. Thank you.
You don't work, you don't eat. Treat others like how you would like to be treated. Putting others first. Encouraging one another. Must love each other. Put yourself before others. Be selfish. To live is Christ, and to die is gain. What? Jesus is Lord. That's a principle. Saved by grace, not works. Everybody eats. Play hard, work harder. Being accountable and empowering others.
All right, Michael.
We'll be checking because all I hear is just eat. You don't know anything like eat.
Alright, so group 1 we have first it starts with love God, then it goes into a relationship with Jesus, which means you will be grounded in the Word, and if you're grounded in the Word, you will be responsible, honest, have integrity, and of course you'll stick to the Bible.
All right.
Okay, so we said that we have to remember that our authority comes from the Bible and the Bible alone. So Joshua 1:8 says, keep this book of law always on your lips, meditate it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. And so, servant leadership principles, and there are so many, and this is not an exclusive list. There's more to it, okay? Eternal perspective, not present, okay? Not worldly, because we have to always have this mentality. What good will it be for someone who gains the whole world, yet for his soul, or their soul, which is in Matthew. Include, if you're in the unity in the body of Christ, you have to include the team in all major decisions and planning for your ministry. Listen to everyone, be open-minded, and see other people's perspective. Because sometimes when you're on the top and people say things to you and it doesn't make sense, you're like, no. You're like, no, it has to be my way. No, it can't be. You have to open your mind and you say there is some validity in what they're saying. And I'm going to be honest, as a leader, sometimes I tend to do that. I try to make decisions without, and I know even with this event here, I changed the date like that without consulting my leadership team. And so, sometimes we do things and we want to get things done and we want to get it done quick, and that's me. I'm kind of like type A, trying to get things done. No, you can't do that, okay? You have to consult and take in consideration everybody in your leadership team, okay? Okay, next.
I want to add to the listen to everyone, because for example, if one of your member, either your youth come to you, say like, look, what you have done or your promotion. Like for example, as a leader, we know there's a lot on our plate, and sometimes we can go overwhelming. But in front of our youth, we don't try to be hypocrite pretending, but because if we are like all over the place, what are we leaning? We lean commotions among our team. So we just pray God and keep us calm. But if any of, like say, Ko Yung can be all over the place, and then we say, Ko Yung, calm down, slow down, take a deep breath, and then we step back and relax and take a deep breath. But if we say like, oh, are you the only one can do that? I think now we not listening, but we are trying to put it back, like you think you're better than I am. So that is not listening. That doesn't show compassion. That doesn't show empathy. But sometimes we are out and about. We're so busy. We get everything on our agenda that we forgot that we have to slow down and know that God is with us.
Amen. And I'm going to piggyback on what I just said about V. And, V actually came to me, and when we were sitting down, said, you made the change without even consulting any one of us. And I like that. I like for her to challenge me, because if she doesn't challenge me, I don't grow as a leader. And I'll do that again. I'll switch something without consulting with them. So I'm really glad that, as in an organization, you have to have the courage to open up your mind. And it doesn't matter if that person's on top, it doesn't matter who that person is, it doesn't matter that I'm a lot older than V. She has the right to tell me how she feels, okay? Okay, teamwork to support the church overall mission and purpose statement of the team. Unity, trust, commitment comes from a collaborative and encouraging environment, okay? If you're in an environment where I'm always like, Brianna, why are you doing that? I'm like, seriously, that's not right, And like, if they're doing something well, you have to encourage them, and you have to collaborate with them, and that will bring a better team, of unity and trust. And so, use your talent and gifts to serve. And it says in 2 Timothy 1:6-7, therefore I remind you to stir up the gift of God which is in you through the laying on of my hands. Okay, God has put you in a position of leadership, or one day He will put you in a position of leadership. But I want you to know that you should have no fear, because God doesn't put the spirit of fear in your mind. That's from the enemy. For God has not only given us a spirit of fear, but of power. Remember that, a power of love and of a sound mind. Remember that as you're leading, okay?
This is true life experience. When Ko Yung asked me to do this workshop with her, I was like, I have no problem doing education workshop, because that's my career. But when the English ministry, they're like, who's coming? Mục sư Việt, mục sư who else? All Chú Hải, all this like in the leadership, like, I feel intimidated. I don't want to do it. I feel I'm not capable. How am I going to teach them? How am I going to present anything to them? Like, I don't know like that. So Gu Yung say, and then she texts back and forth, God gave us, each one of us a gift. A gift of serving, a gift of talking, a gift of motivation. My gift is maybe not sharing you with any rich content, but maybe my gift is making you lighten up your day. Just having fun. Getting you up and down and move around. Or maybe feed you all the junk stuff right now you're eating, right? So, everyone have a gift. So that fear should not be fear because God gave us a gift of what? Self-control, love, right?
Amen. So you have to be aware of Satan's attack, okay? All right? Everyone in the work, you're going to get some spiritual attack upon you because when you're doing the Lord's work, there's the dark forces, the evil spirits that are going to stop you. I mean, throughout this whole process of doing this workshop, I felt like I was so discouraged, because we changed the date like 2-3 times, and I'm like, people are always, it's really hard to get people to come here and sit and listen, E-Night, we had no trouble at all. E-Night, we did it, and we didn't even have to ask people, and we didn't have to ask them to RESP or anything. It's like 150 people came that day, and it's like, whoa, and we did this event, it's like 20 people. So it's okay, it's okay. We said we don't care about the number, we just want, you're here, it's the will of God. You're here with me for a reason, and I'm thankful and I'm blessed by your presence. But I want you to remember this when you're doing servant leadership, okay? Like for example, Gohan, me, right? She's doing something to me that's making me really agitated. And I'm really like, I'm going to tell her off and I'm going to give it to her and she's the cause of the problem. No, she's not. The enemy is using her to get to me. Okay? Think about that. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood. It's not against your brothers and sisters here, okay? I'm going to have conflict with Tom. But it's not about Tom. It's about the devil, okay? But against the rulers, against our authority, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. And when you really think about it, it's not her. And you reflect and you think about your mind for a minute and you say, no, it's not her. I got to come to her and I got to love this woman. Okay? I don't care what's going on between us, but I got to love this woman. Okay? It's not about her. She's not against me. It's the dark forces. Okay? All right, next. I'm just going to go quickly over the leadership guidelines, okay, real quick, okay? If you're a leader now and one day you'll be a leader, or just so, even if you don't become a leader, these information is important. If you're a leader and you're using foul language, that does not represent God very well, okay? Or you're making jokes to bring someone down. I'm seriously, I heard a pastor say something is very disturbing. That really brings me down. Or if they're joking in a way that's offensive or uncomfortable, they shouldn't be. Okay? Information disclosed to you is very important, especially in counseling and advising. If you're a leader in the church, it has to be in confidence. You cannot go to somebody and say, well, you know what, Brianna, you know what Nung told me the other day? Can we find some way to help her? She said this and she said that. No. You have to be very careful in not disclosing anything people tell you about them personally. You have to be controlling your emotion. Sometimes you get really hype or you like, you have to control yourself. You're a leader, okay? You represent God, all right? Next. Here's the thing, okay? I mean, like, me and Muksabo, like, we work closely together. How would it be like if me and Muksabo every day take a ride together, go home, and come back and, okay, we're going to go. No, that can't be it, okay? Even though there's nothing between me and Muksabo, there's no way I'm going to be riding with him every day. Because it's going to cause somebody to stumble. It's going to create issues. Why are they always together in the same car? You got to be careful about that as a leader, okay? And, okay, so here Peter has an issue. And I'm like meeting with Peter alone all the time, spending one-on-one time with him all the time. I don't think that's a good idea. I think that's why we should have like same-sex counseling. Or something like that, you know what I mean? Because it's not good. It's not like there's anything between me and Peter, but I'm just saying that the enemy can use that to make us fall, okay? And like even if like sometimes I feel like I'm their mother, okay? Like, and I would come to them and I'm like, you know, people have their personal space, you know? You don't want to be in their face. You have to watch yourself, you know? It's very uncomfortable. Or, you know, one time when I was at church and somebody just came up and just slapped me in the back like that, you know? And a guy. I'm like, why are you slapping me, you know? Gotta keep your personal space. Don't be slapping people. You're a leader, okay? Keep your hands to yourself, all right? So, okay, here, conflict. And you know, like, and it's really hard for me because sometimes I feel like I want to slap Tom around because he's like my son, you know? But I got to control myself. I got to keep my hands to myself, okay?
Appropriate touch.
Yeah, I'm talking about opposite sex here, you know? Well, anyway, so it's use your discretion. I'm not just saying, use your discretion, okay? There are, you know, sometimes I see and hi, and I'm like, hey, you know, it's okay. But I'm just saying, if it's too much, feely all the time, it's a problem, okay? Once in a while, I didn't see him a couple years, I'll like go, hi, how are you? That's okay. Okay, but we have to be careful. We have to be mindful of those things, okay? Now, conflict. When I have a conflict, for example, with, I'm just going to give an example. With who? Oh, Taehung. If I have a conflict with you, Taehung.
All the time.
All right, I know. All right, and so I'm like, I'll go to like V, Taehung, you know, me and him, you know, yeah, get it? And then I'll go, Viet, Taehung, you know what he did to me? Okay? I'm telling you, that's not the way to do it. That's gossiping, that's right. Go directly to that person with the problem. Come in love. If I want to say something to Ko Hwa about Taehung, I better be prepared for Taehung to hear all of that, okay? So whatever you say about Taehung, just say it in front of his face, okay? It's better. It's hard. I'm going to tell you it's not easy because, you know, I don't want to go to him. It's hard, right? It's better to go to Ko Hwa, right? Hey, Taehung, this and that. No, but please, you got to go to that person. That's the best. Now, once I go to that person, and all of this is written in Matthew, so you guys, it's not like brand new or something that I came up. It's all in Matthew. You go to the person of conflict first. Now, suppose me and Taehung, we can't. Still, we can't. Then I'm going to call a mediator, Ko Hwa. Ko Hwa, can you come help between me and him? Sure. Yeah, please talk. You're going to be the mediator between.
That's not the best choice. That's his wife.
Oh yeah, that's right. All right. Okay, Muslimin. You got to be the mediator, Muslimin, between me and Taehung here.
Less than a peacemaker, they call the
Yes. And sometimes you get a mediator. Sometimes it doesn't have to be in the church. It can be outside. Somebody outside is better because they're not biased. Okay. Now, if you go to Muslimin still not working, then we go to the leadership team and then to the church. And if there are steps that you have to go through. But I'm saying that you can't just go straight. The last thing is, I'm just going to end it because we're a little bit, and we have this carousel activity, which we have those things around in yellow. We're not going to do that.
For you, can I say something about
Yes.
conflict resolving? As a servant leader, I think that even though when we have conflict with a person in our group, but I think with humility, we have to be willing to take responsibility for our part. I mean, sometimes it's hard to admit that you make a mistake, but it's worth it and it's right to admit that you make a mistake because that's how you can reconcile.
Amen.
If you always say that you are right and I am leader, I can admit I'm wrong, then that's really not worth
So
it.
true. So true.
Could you, I would like to make a comment. How proud I am of all of you. This morning I came here. I remember 30-some years ago. Cô Dung, me, Cô Long, and others, we borrow a car to drive together to the camp. 30 years later, we still around. We have family. And how proud your daughter is with you on the training. I have Nathan with me on the training. Hương Hà, you have your children with you on the training. So we're talking about the servant leadership in not one generation, but to generation. And we have Pastor Vic, future Pastor David, all the seminarian students here, and Peter, Lyro, I wanted to share with you. If you took this to your daily life, you will go very far in your marketplace. You will go very far in your ministry. Because what the principle, the profile, whatever you said here, I just said there I cannot keep my mouth shut. How proud I am. You take the initiative. The leader, you want to take the first step. So you took this step. And I'll be honest with you, Ko Yung, Ko Hoa, Ko Luang, don't ever worry about the number here. If only 5 of this group, they become a leader, you are very successful. And they will impact the church, the community, and the country for God. So that means, I just encourage, like Mục sư Đạt there, we just thank God. God kept us in this region. But I have this prophetic to share with you, go out with you this morning. And I will look in your eye and say this. 2020 will be the year of the Jubilee for the Northeast region. The rain will pour down on us. We have to prepare the umbrella, the rain suit, so don't even know how to handle it. I believe that wholeheartedly. From our Vermont down to Virginia, what God will do to the Northeast region, I have no doubt. But in order for God to do that, we need to step up to ready. To say, I am here, I'm willing to be your servant. Yeah, And Ko Hoa made a statement with me this morning, and I said, no, Ko Hoa, you do it. He said, oh, I have to wait for the student come from seminary. I said, don't wait. Now we in the emergency room. We need to ask God to help us to do. If not, the patient will die. We cannot wait. And God said to me and you, whatever we have, we give, and God will give more. You don't give what we have, God never give us more. We need to step in, step up, and stand up, and you will see God will do.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
Thank you, Muslim. Also, for whoever is greater, the one who is at the table or the one who serves, it is not the one who is at the table, but I am among you as one who serves. Just remember that. Okay, keep going. We're gonna skip this activity because we're way behind schedule. But I want to say one more thing. Okay? Theory meets praxis. Here's the thing. I know that I'm supposed to consult with my team before I change the date, right? I know that. But am I practicing it? All of us here, right? We know the theory. If we know the Bible, we memorize the verse, like the Pharisees, they know it. But they're not practicing it. So theory does not meet praxis. So I want you to remember this, okay? You have learned what we have learned from each other, okay? But we have to remember it. There has to be a point where theory meets praxis, which means are we making application of what we're learning today, which is very important, okay? We've given you a lot of theory, but we hope that it's not just theory alone, but it has to end up with us being able to practice it and being really aware of what we're doing as we are leaders, okay? And that's it.
So now is the break time, so you get up